All right, so we're going to look at Pythagoras' theorem. And you guys just saw a quick video that talked about the history of Pythagoras and how the ancient Egyptians used it and how he was Greek and how it's used a lot for construction and right angles and how the Chinese probably had it before Pythagoras made a big deal about it. So there's lots of information here. Okay, but we're going to use it to solve just simple problems. So let's look at our first example, and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, the first thing you need to know is that Pythagoras' theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So write that down. That should be added to the back side of your note card. And we'll do that in a second, okay? Because my note card is currently being occupied. Okay, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Got it? So I like to say that c is always my longest side. So some information that you might want to write down on the back side. C is always the longest. Okay, so if I have a triangle, and this is only going to work for right triangles, and we know it's a right triangle because it's going to have this box in the corner. Okay, so draw this triangle. All right, C is always the longest side. And it's also called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Which makes it the side opposite of the right triangle. I know, that's what I emailed Mom.
And okay, good. So I'm just going to...
All right, so C is always the longest side. It's also called the hypotenuse, and also the side opposite the right angle. So here's my right angle. It's always going to be this side here. That's side C. Okay? And then the next two, I like to make side A the short side. And it's just a good habit to get into. And then side B, whatever's left. So which one would be side A and which one would be side B? Up and down would be side what? What would you call it? What side looks shorter? I usually go like this. A, B, C. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so A and B, it doesn't really matter which is which. It's just for me, I like to label side A the short side, and then the next one is side B. This diagonal one, the one that's opposite of my right triangle, and it's always going to be the long one, is side C. So that's the only one that really has to be the certain one all the time. You guys got that written down? Yes? Does anybody need more time? Okay, we'll wait. All right, so flip your paper over, and we're going to take this information to help us solve a problem. Okay? So here I'm going to take this information. So side A is 3, side B is 4, side C is what we're trying to figure out, right? So I'm going to take this information and substitute it into my equation. All right, so I'm dying here. I'm allergic to you guys. So A is what? Instead of A, what are we going to write? What are we going to write? Frank? 3 squared. So we're going to say 3 squared. What is my B then? What's B? And C I don't know, so C is going to stay as C squared. Okay, so what is 3 squared? You guys should have your information there. What is it? No, 3 times 3 is what? What's 4 squared? 4 squared is what? 16. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, what's 9 plus 16? So 25. Sorry. I probably need to write smaller because now I'm out of room. So 25 is equal to c squared, right? So if I take the square root, remember when I take the square root, when I take the square root, my root and my radical cancel. That leaves me just c. And I also have to take the square root of 25. What is the square root of 25? So c is equal to 5. Right? Pretty simple? Yeah? Okay, so we're just doing that simple operation. Let's do another one. Let's look at number 5. So if I take this, my equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I'm looking at number 5, what is a going to be? So I'm going to say 5 squared, and what is b? We don't know, so we're going to just keep it as b squared, and what is my c going to be? 13 squared. Okay, so what is 5 squared? 25. I don't know what b is, so we're going to keep it at b squared. And what is 13 squared? What is 13 squared? You guys should have it on your note cards. Where are your note cards? 169, that's correct. So now I want to know what b squared is, so I need to move this 25 over using our method of solving a multi-step equation and subtract it from both sides. That's my inverse operation. That leaves me with b squared is equal to, what is 169 minus 25? Okay, 144. I don't want to know what b squared is. I want to know what b is. So I'm going to take my root and take my root. My roots cancel. What does b equal? What is the square root of 144? So b is equal to 12. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you have that information. It just matters that you know it. Okay, it's pretty simple. So there's 2 examples of the numbers. Okay, I want us to look at examples over here of an actual figure. Okay. So from 12 to 22, there are examples of actual figures, and we're going to take a couple and solve them. Okay, so let's look at number 12. Now remember, my formula is still a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Which side is c? Is it 8, 6, or the one we don't know? It's the one we don't know because it's always the longest and it's always the one opposite of that right angle. C. Okay, so remember I said I like to use the short one as my a? So I'm going to rewrite my problem as 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared because I don't know the length of this one. Okay, so what is 6 squared? Right, it is 36. And what is 8 squared? Perfect. Equals c squared. So now I'm going to add these 2 together. What is 36 plus 64? Anybody? 36 plus 64 is what? 100. Okay, so I have kind of an answer, but I don't want to know what c squared is. I want to know what c is. So when I take my root from both sides, this and this cancels, right? It gives me what c is equal to. What is the square root of 100? C is equal to 10. Same thing. Okay, it's just a figure this time. All right? So let's look at number 13, and we're going to do the same thing, but this time, what is side C? Do I know what side C is? What's my value for side C? So I'm going to say, instead of a squared, I'm going to say 8 squared. Do I know what b is then? B is my unknown, right? So I'm going to solve it just like I did the last time. And this time I'm going to use these numbers. So what is 8 squared? So 64 plus b squared is equal to, what is 17 squared? 289. 17 squared. 17 times 17 is 289. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I want to move this over here because I want to solve for b squared. So I'm going to do my inverse operation. I'm going to subtract 64 from both sides. This becomes 0. Leaves me with b squared is equal to what? Right? Okay, so I don't want to know what b squared is. I want to know what b is. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. These guys cancel. Leaves me with b is equal to, what is the square root of 225? It is 15. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? You guys got this? Yes. 13 minutes. All right. Any questions? Questions? No questions. All right, go ahead, get to work.